This is something most people don't dare to admit. At this age, what wears you down isn't an illness. It isn't loneliness. It's the pile of stuff you don't even know where to start. You walk into a room, you look around, and you freeze. Not because you don't want to clean, not because you don't know how, but because in your head there's a voice that keeps repeating, "Where do I even start with all this?" If you're feeling that way, then congratulations, you're in the right place, and at the very first step of the 9-step journey. Step 1 doesn't ask you to throw anything away. No cleaning is needed, no moving a finger. It only asks you to admit this truth. I'm overwhelmed, and that's okay. I don't know how many years you've lived in your home. I don't know how many things you've kept from people who've passed. From your younger days, from all the promises of, "I'll use this, I'll fix this, I'll give this away." But I do know you're not alone. I once sat with a man in his 80s. He just sighed when I asked, "Why haven't you started?" And he simply said, "I don't know what matters anymore. All I feel is that everything is weighing down on me." That feeling of overwhelm doesn't just come from stuff. It comes from the tangle of memories, responsibility, and exhaustion. Maybe you've opened your kitchen cabinet many times, seen the expired spices, the glass jars without lids. The plastic containers have been nested inside each other since who knows when. And you closed the cabinet again, not because you're lazy, but because you felt something even bigger than clutter. You no longer feel in control of your own home. A house that used to be peaceful now feels suffocating. The living room holds things someone once left. The attic has boxes you haven't opened since 2004. The closet has clothes you might wear again someday. The drawer holds papers you never got around to sorting, and you know. But knowing doesn't mean you can do it. Dorothy, 74 years old, once told me, "I'm not tired because the house is messy. I'm tired because every time I look for something, I feel like I'm fading." Dorothy isn't special. She's just one of millions of people like you out there. People who were once the backbone of a family. People who used to live neatly, used to be so organized. But time passed, and little things began to pile up. A bit here, a bit there. Until one day, the house wasn't a place to live. It became a place to avoid. Here's a truth many people don't want to face. You're not procrastinating because you're disorganized. You're procrastinating because you're afraid. Afraid that if you touch those things, you'll have to remember. You'll have to face something lost. You'll have to ask yourself, why am I keeping this, and who am I if I let it go? Dorothy spoke the heart of so many, and I believe maybe yours too. I hold on to everything because I'm afraid. If I let it go, there'll be nothing left to prove I ever lived. Have you ever thought that I've met many people like that? They open a drawer and shut it right away because they don't dare face the past. People who clean out one trash bag, then burst into tears. People who've held on to a faded card for 20 years and can't throw it out even if they don't remember who gave it to them. People who say, "I know it's useless, but I don't know what kind of emptiness it would leave inside me if I let it go." Decluttering for the young is just a matter of hours. For the elderly, it's a matter of a lifetime. Because every item holds a piece of you, and letting go of one feels like letting go of a memory. But you know what? Dorothy didn't start with a big decision. She didn't clean the whole house in a week. She didn't call any service. She started with just one thing. A rusty pair of scissors. She picked it up. looked at it for a moment, then dropped it into the trash bag. No tears, no blaming herself, just a quiet exhale like setting down a weight from long ago. And right after that, she kept going. A single sock missing its pair, a dented pot, a notebook with nothing written in it. No drama, no one watching, just this. She had started. Step 1 isn't about doing anything at all. It's only about realizing I'm allowed to feel tired. I'm allowed to feel overwhelmed. And I can start with anything small, easy, painless. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to follow someone else's method. You just need to start. But start with the right mindset. If you've ever stood in the middle of your own home not knowing where to begin, just leave a comment, "I've felt that way too." Who knows, maybe you will be the reason someone out there feels less alone. In the next part, I'll tell you about step 2 of this journey. Letting go of the things you've been keeping just because. No overthinking, no regret, because it's often the little meaningless things that make you feel the most suffocated. Step 2. Get rid of the things that don't even need thinking. If you're keeping it just because, it's time to let it go. If you've gone through step 1 and you've been brave enough to say, "I'm overwhelmed," then this is your first small but powerful victory. A win that doesn't ask you to touch anything emotional. No crying, no remembering. You just start with what holds no meaning at all. What is just because clutter? It's that box you didn't throw away because it still looks new. It's the roll of tape that no longer sticks. The ballpoint pen that dried out long ago. A paper bag from a bakery that closed 10 years ago. An old plastic straw. An empty cosmetic jar you meant to reuse for something but never did. Have you ever asked yourself, why am I keeping things that have no value, no function, and no memory? The answer is often, I don't know. I just never thought of throwing it away. Dorothy, the woman I told you about once, sat looking at a thin plastic bag ripped on one side. She said, "I don't know why it's still here. It's useless, but I've ignored it for so many years. I just let it sit there as if it wasn't even worth deciding about." Exactly. The things we keep just because aren't important enough to think about, but also not annoying enough to force us to clean. And that's why they stay, year after year. Each tiny thing harmless on its own, but slowly suffocating every drawer, every cabinet, every corner. Step 2 is for the things that need no second thought. No reason to keep it, no reason to toss it. You can try it right now. Open the nearest drawer. You don't have to clean it all. Just pick out 3 things that you know for sure. You don't need them. You don't use them. They don't make you happy when you see them. Just 3 things. Put them in a bag. No reason is needed. No regret is needed. I call this decluttering without emotion, because a good start is one that doesn't hurt you. So why do we keep things? I've asked dozens of people, and here are the answers I often get. Maybe I'll need it someday. I'm not sure where else to put it. It doesn't take up much space. It'd be wasteful to toss. It's not bothering anyone. Sounds reasonable, but the truth is, it's quietly stealing things far more precious from you. The space to live freely. The time wasted digging through the mess. Your physical health from bending, reaching, or stepping around clutter. And most importantly, your ability to be in control of your life. Dorothy once told me after throwing out a bag of junk, "I don't feel happy, but I feel light." And then she said something I'll never forget. This feeling of lightness, I haven't had it in years. We don't just need a beautiful house. We need a house that breathes. A clear table, an empty drawer, a stretch of floor with no tripping hazards, Not to impress anyone, but so you can walk through and feel like you're still alive. The mindset of, it's not broken, so why toss it? This is very common. You look at something and think, it's not damaged, it's not ugly, it's not bothering anyone. But do you remember the last time you used it? Does it truly help you live happier, easier, or healthier? If the answer is no, then maybe it's time to ask, why is it still here? Something not being wrong doesn't mean it should stay. You don't have to be wrong to know it's time for a change. Decluttering isn't about lacking. It's about making space to breathe again. Every item you release gives back a bit of space for a morning cup of tea that's easy to place, a book that's easy to reach, a spot to rest your feet, or simply a cleaner view when you walk into the room. If you feel stuck not knowing what to start with the things you don't even name anymore. Take a second look. Do you have something you always see but never use? That's all it takes. Dorothy started with a bent metal straw, a tangled spool of embroidery thread, a plastic bag from an old ice cream shop, and a box of pens, all out of ink. No one laughed at her. No praise was needed. She did it simply because she needed to feel she could still choose. And so can you. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need to wait for the weekend. You just need to do the first small thing you know you can do. In the next part, we'll move to step 3, letting go of the things you've been avoiding because they touch memory. Items from those who've passed. Objects from a long ago time. Things you know you don't need but still don't dare to open it. Step 3. If an item brings you pain, let it go through a ritual, not by force. There are things in the house you know full well you should let go. You know you won't use them. No one needs them. They're outdated. Some are even moldy, faded, or broken. But still you haven't let them go. Not because you regret it, but because you're afraid to open them. I've heard many people quietly admit, I can't open the box in the corner. It has my husband's things from after he passed. That box holds letters from my mother. I've never reread them. I have an old shirt. It doesn't smell like him anymore. But when I touch it, I choke up. This is a very real part of decluttering. Some items are not kept because they're needed, but because you just can't part with them yet. And some boxes aren't left unopened out of forgetfulness, but because you're not yet strong enough to face them. Dorothy was the same. She had an old suitcase in her closet, unopened for over 12 years. It belonged to her younger sister, who passed from cancer the year Dorothy retired. Inside were a few sweaters, a couple of old school journals, and a photo of the two of them on a picnic in 1981. I know exactly what's in there, Dorothy told me. I'm not afraid of the memories. I'm just afraid that if I open it and then put it away again, it'll feel like saying goodbye. And I'm not ready for that. Step 3 is not about rushing. It's about approaching these items with reverence, as if you're standing before a piece of your soul. Decluttering as a ritual, not just throwing away. I often guide older adults to do this. Instead of opening an item to decide whether to keep or toss, turn it into a ritual. Because what you're letting go of isn't just a thing, it's a time in your life, a person who's gone, a version of yourself from the past. And every goodbye, even the gentlest ones, deserves kindness. You can open each item slowly. Say a quiet thank you in your mind. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for once making me smile. Thank you for reminding me I once loved deeply. Take a photo. Write a line in your journal. I've kept this for so many years, and today I release it with gratitude. Dorothy did this with the suitcase. She laid each item on the table. No rush, no sorting yet. Just sat there looking and lit a small candle beside her sister's photo. She kept two things, a handwritten notebook and a handkerchief with both their names stitched into it. The rest she packed into a cardboard box, sealed it, wrote, "For whoever needs this, sent with love," and brought it to a charity shop. You don't have to keep everything to remember someone. Memory doesn't live in the object, it lives in you. If something makes your heart ache when you see it, ask yourself, does this bring me peace or hold me back? Am I keeping this because I need it, or because I haven't dared to let go? Am I honoring this memory or imprisoning myself in it? An older woman once told me I've kept my wedding dress for 48 years. Not for my children, not for anyone to wear again. I just kept it because I never really said goodbye to the person who took that photo with me that day. I asked, "Are you ready now?" She was silent. Then she nodded. "Today, I think I am." She cut a small piece of fabric from the dress, folded it and placed it in her notebook. The rest she wrapped with care. And exhaled. Some things don't need to be kept whole. Just one part, one symbol, a photo, a detail. That's enough. Suggestions for step 3. Choose a box or shelf you haven't opened in years. Give yourself a quiet morning. No distractions. Play a song you love. Declutter like a ritual, not as a chore. Keep something only if it makes your heart feel light. Write down what you've let go as a form of gratitude. And if you're not ready, close it gently. Try again later. That's okay. You're not decluttering the person. You're creating space so the memory can breathe. Not trapped in dust in a box in the dark. In the next part, we'll move to step 4, decluttering the most dangerous places, not just the messiest. Because sometimes the point isn't just to tidy, but to keep yourself safe. Safe from falls. Safe from accidents. It could be a cluttered kitchen corner, a stair step, a loose power outlet, a stack of boxes leaning too high. Step 4. Start with the most dangerous spot, not the messiest one. When you look around the house, you probably think the messiest room is where I should begin. Sounds logical, but if you're older, that's not always the wisest priority. Step 4 in this journey doesn't ask you to clean everything. It asks you to clean for your safety. A friend once told me, there was just one cardboard box on my stairs. I knew it was in the way, but I kept thinking, once I finish clearing the storage room, I'll take care of the stairs too. A month later, that same box caused her to slip. No broken bones, but she was in bed for nearly 3 weeks. The problem wasn't the clutter. It was that clutter in the wrong place became dangerous. Dorothy used to have a small table by her bed. She kept everything there. Her pillbox, a glass of water, reading glasses, TV remote, a bedside lamp, and a stack of dusty notebooks. One night, she accidentally knocked over the pile. The glasses fell and shattered. She got a small scratch on her hand, nothing serious. But from that night on, she noticed that little corner, the place she needed to be safest, was the most crowded. We tend to clean based on what looks messy. But once you're over 60, you should clean based on how your body moves. Where do you walk most often? Where are you most likely to trip? Where do you need space to move freely? That's where you should clean first. Common danger zones in the home. Let's walk through your house, starting with these areas. Entryway, slippery rugs, shoes scattered around, old plastic bags or delivery boxes in the way. Stairs, boxes placed on steps, clothes hanging on railings, poor lighting or no light at all. Kitchen, items placed too high, small stools used to reach things, extension cords running across counters, oil spills or water not yet cleaned. Bedroom, items placed too close to the bed, loose power strips near pillows, charging cables stretched across the floor, medication scattered on tables. You don't need to make it pretty, you just need to make it safe enough not to fall. After that small accident, Dorothy did this. Cleared away all the, just for now, items near the bed, bought a small tray to hold her pills, replaced her lamp with one that had a switch close to her hand, taped her charger cord neatly along the edge of the bed. That's all, but later, she told me I sleep better. I'm not afraid of getting up at night anymore. Step 4. Suggested action today: don't clean a whole room. Just choose one spot you walk past every day and ask yourself, is there anything blocking the path? Is there a rug that could slide? Is there a pile leaning or ready to fall? Is there a socket overloaded with plugs? If yes, clean it. No overthinking, no guilt. Clean it for your health, not for how it looks. You know. What, a small fall at age 30 is nothing, but a fall at 70 can put you in bed for life. Don't wait until the storage room is done or the living room is clean to fix these small spots, because the small spots are the ones you need to be safe so you can finish the next 8 steps. An 82-year-old man once told me, I don't miss the stuff I threw out. I only regret not throwing it out sooner before I broke my leg. Decluttering the whole house may take a lifetime, but making one spot safer is something you can do today. If you still don't know where to start after the first 3 steps, remember this. Step 4. Start with the most dangerous spot, not the messiest one. In the next part, we'll move on to step 5. Decluttering your identity, not just your belongings. Because you're not the person you were 10 years ago. You don't wear the same clothes. You don't live the same way. But your closet, your drawers, your room still hold the image of who you used to be. And so you kept it, not to use, but to prove that I was once someone who had a reason to need this. Dorothy told me she had a special bookshelf. Not for reading books, but for writing. Blank journals collected over the years when she planned to write her memoirs. She kept them like a quiet promise to herself. One day I'll begin. But year after year, the pages stayed empty, and she started to feel guilty. Not because I didn't write, she said, but because seeing them every day felt like a reminder that I didn't keep my word to myself. Are you holding on to something because of an old promise you made to yourself? A dream left unfinished? A plan that never came through? A strong body you once had? A role you no longer play? Step 5 invites you to ask one deep question. Does the person I'm becoming still need this? If not, then maybe you don't need the item anymore. And maybe you no longer need to carry the guilt of who you once were. You don't have to keep everything to prove your life has meaning. You don't have to wear that old outfit to prove that you still have value. You can choose again. Item by item to match who you are today. Not to chase memories, not to reject them, just to let them rest. An easy way to apply step 5 is the future self test. Pick up an item. Ask yourself, would the person I'm becoming still use this? 5 years from now, will I need to keep this? If I were moving to a smaller home, would I bring this along? If the answer is no, let it go, with gratitude, not because it's useless, but because its role is complete. It once helped express a part of you, and now you are someone new. Dorothy kept one small box. Inside she wrapped an old pair of scissors, a cream-colored porcelain button, a photo of her standing in front of her first bridal shop. She labeled the box I once was, and she told me that's enough for me to remember. As for the rest of the house, I'm ready for it to change. You can do the same. Choose 3 symbolic items from an older version of you. Place them in a special box, give it a name, and let it be. The rest becomes space for the you who lives here now. In the next part, we'll move on to step 6. Are you decluttering for yourself or someone else? Because many older adults clean out their homes not because they're ready, but because their children keep asking. Not because they want to change, but because of family pressure. And they end up feeling like they're not doing it for them. Step 6. Declutter on your terms, not to please others. There's one kind of cleaning older adults fear the most. It's not cleaning alone. And it's not cleaning because things are too messy. It's cleaning under someone else's pressure. Mum, you have way too much stuff. Ma, please get rid of things. It'll be hard for us if anything happens to you. Dad, what are you keeping all this for? The place is too small, it looks cluttered. Grandma, you need to clean up, what if you fall? It all sounds reasonable. But after every sentence like that, many older adults don't feel loved. They feel judged. I once asked a 78-year-old woman, "Why haven't you started decluttering?" She said, "I know I should, but I want to do it because I want to, not because my children feel embarrassed." Step 6 asks you to pause and honestly ask yourself, am I decluttering for me or to make someone else less uncomfortable? If it's for others, you're likely doing it from a place of resentment. You'll feel invaded. You'll feel like you're being forced to walk away from parts of your life you haven't even said goodbye to. Dorothy once got a gentle message from her daughter, "Mum, we're thinking of helping you clean the house, so that if anything happens later, it'll be easier to manage." It sounded caring. But Dorothy didn't feel okay. I felt like I had become a project, something they wanted to tidy up before I was even gone. No one asked if I wanted to change. They just wanted me to shrink my life so they'd have one less thing to worry about. Decluttering isn't about logistics, it's about emotions, and emotions cannot be rushed. An elderly man once told me I feel like I'm being audited. Whenever I keep something, someone asks, "What for?" And honestly, I don't know what for, but I get angry when someone tells me to let it go. Don't let this become a negotiation between generations. Because if you declutter while feeling resentful, you won't let go of anything. You'll just carry that bitterness from room to room. It gives you an early sense of success. You feel like you've done something. You no longer feel like the pile is too big. You feel like you're still in control. How to do step 7 the simple way. Set a daily alarm at the same time each day. Choose one small area. A drawer, a kitchen corner, a shelf, a laundry basket. Clean for exactly 15 minutes. When the timer rings, stop. Write one line in your notebook. Today I cleaned the kek. Don't aim for perfection. aim for consistency. Dorothy shared that she kept a piece of paper near at her dining table. Each day she just wrote one line. Today I cleaned yuck and I felt ache. After 2 weeks she read through them and cried. Because she realized she hadn't just cleaned clutter, she had cleared out her sense of helplessness, bit by bit, light, small, but real. Another older man I knew called his 15-minute sessions my freedom time. Because he said, during those moments, I'm not living in the past. I'm not worried about the future. I'm just living in one small decision for myself today. You don't have to rush. You don't have to try hard. You just need one step each day. 15 minutes won't change the whole house, but it will change how you feel about yourself, that you're still capable of something, that you haven't given up, that you're still moving forward slowly but steadily. One day, you'll open a closet and smile. Not because everything's perfect, but because you'll know I did this little by little every day, and I didn't quit. In the next part, we'll enter Step 8. The items that stir up guilt, things you once promised to do but never did. This is where you've kept all the unfinished intentions. Fabric you meant to sew into a shirt, a book you never read, a gift you bought but never gave, an old appliance you swore you'd fix. Step 8. Gently release old expectations, not as a failure, but as a freedom. Do you know what's even harder to let go of than gifts? Harder than memories, harder than expensive things. It's the items that remind you of what you meant to do, but never did. A sewing machine you meant to learn at 65. A bag of yarn you planned to knit into a scarf for your granddaughter that Christmas. A set of French books you bought thinking you'd learn a new language in retirement. Registration papers for an art class printed, filed, and left untouched for 8 years. A box of embroidery thread. An unopened painting kit. A digital piano you once said, I'll start again when I have time. See, these aren't useless things. And they're not sentimental either. They're old expectations. And you can't let them go. Not because you knit them, but because you feel guilty. Dorothy had a wooden box labeled Intentions. Inside she kept a set of baking tools, a sketchbook with the plastic still on, a bag of embroidery threads, a flyer for a senior yoga class, a brand new notebook titled Chapter 1, My Memoir. When I asked, "Did you use them?" she gave a soft laugh. I meant to. I've meant to for 10 years, but every time I open it, I feel like I failed. Step 8 is here to help you face the truth. You are not a failure just because you haven't done everything you once intended. Life doesn't follow a schedule. Health changes. Priorities change. You have changed. Holding on to things tied to old promises can leave you living in the shadow of not enough. You don't need to keep your watercolor paints to prove you once loved to paint. You don't need to finish every plan to be a person of worth. You can forgive yourself for the things left undone. You can let go of expectations and still keep the love. Step 8. Suggested action. Choose one item that makes you feel guilty whenever you see it. For example, a craft kit, an unread book, or something you bought to do something with but never did. Place your hand on it. Ask, am I keeping this because I love it or because I feel incomplete without it? Do I honestly still want to begin this at this stage of my life? If the answer is no, say thank you. Thank you for being a symbol of hope. Now, I allow myself to close this gently. Dorothy ended up keeping just 2 items from her intentions box: a blank notebook and the fountain pen her daughter once gave her. The rest she donated to a local trade school. Young people needed the tools more than she needed the guilt. "I didn't throw away the dream," she said. "I just cleared the old expectations so new desires have space to grow." In the final part, Step 9, we reach the deepest and most beautiful shift: old home, new self. This isn't just about recreating your space. It's about reclaiming your sense of belonging. No longer stuck, no longer judged, no longer living under someone else's expectations. Just being new again from the inside out. Step 9. Turn the home that once wore you down into a place where you can begin again. After all you've done, a drawer emptied, a box removed, a cabinet that breathes again, a corner now filled with light, you may still have many things left untouched, many memories you haven't released. Many promises are still undecided. But you know what? You're not who you were. You're no longer standing frozen in the middle of your own home. You've moved, even if only one corner. And that shift changes everything. Dorothy didn't clear everything. She didn't turn her 74-year-old home into a magazine photo. She simply changed a few small things. A porch swing to replace a rotting table. A reading nook near the window with new curtains. A clean, quiet altar. A vase of dried flowers. No need to change the water yet. The kitchen felt alive again. "I didn't clean to impress anyone," she said. "I cleaned so that when I walked into this house, I wanted to keep living here." Step 9 isn't about stuff anymore. It's about how you feel when your hand touches the doorknob. It's about entering the space and your heart no longer feels heavy. You don't have to wait until everything's perfect. You just need one renewed corner to remind yourself, "I'm still alive. I still get to rearrange my world my way. I'm no longer buried under clutter. I don't have to prove anything. I just need to feel a little lighter each day." You can begin with a small ritual. Open the window each morning. Make tea and sit in the corner you just refreshed. Write one line in a notebook. "Today I chose lightness in this one place." Or simply close your eyes and breathe, no longer feeling like your home is a battlefield. Rebirth doesn't mean starting over. It means embracing who you've become and choosing to keep going from there. Dorothy now lives alone. But her house no longer feels like a pile of responsibilities. It's where she plays soft music in the mornings. She hangs photos of her grandkids not to cry but to smile. She no longer has to prove who she was. She just needs to feel peaceful enough to keep living. You can do this too. No one needs to approve. No one needs to understand. You only need to permit yourself to start again right here in this home. Not to feel young, not to return to the past, but to see that your life still has room to bloom. Even if it's just one little stem in a simple glass jar on an old table but now clean and clear. I don't need a bigger house. I just need less stuff so there's space for new life to come in. Dorothy, if this journey touched a quiet place in you, if you saw yourself in one of these 9 steps, then please remember, you are not alone and you are not too late. Every item you release is a moment of reclaiming yourself. And every little step forward is a choice to choose you. If you found value in this journey and want to walk alongside me and people like Dorothy, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the videos made. especially for seniors who are quietly coming back to life one small corner at a time. I'm Frank from Senior Life Reset. I'm not better than you. I'm just someone who was once buried in my piles and learned how to step out of them lighter and more real. I hope you'll find your way out too, in your own time, in your way. See you in the next video.